Well, hello there. Welcome back. It's Dr. Faith, the Faithfuldoc, and today we're going to talk about part 2 of this skin series that I started. Today, we're going to talk about cleansers. Why? Because you got to get the crap off your face. Let's start. Wow, these lights are hot. Today, we're going to talk about cleansers because there's a lot of misinformation out there. Let's just get into it, shall we? So cleansers, it's really confusing. There's lots of information about double cleansing, single cleansing, 1 cleansing, 2 cleansing, 3 cleansing. Look, let's just get some things that are straight. Our skin, it's a living organ. You have to take care of it. If you wash it too much, just like if you wash your hands too much, it's going to get stripped of all kinds of oils. So the first thing you want to do, you want to make sure you're cleansing, but you want to make sure you're not cleansing too much. God, it's so hot. So why would you want some natural cleansers? That's a really good question. The reason that you probably want some more natural ingredient cleansers is because cleansers in themselves is kind of an abrasive process. You're trying to get rid of the dirt, the debris, the pollution, the stuff that acquires on your face all day long, the sweat. It's January and I am sweating my balls off. I don't know what is going on. I don't sweat, I glisten. Basically, you want to get this stuff off your face so that you have a nice clean palette so you can do things like toners, moisturizers, and you're not putting that grime and grit into it on top of other stuff. So you want to make sure you have a clean slate. How often should you cleanse? Great question. At least once a day. I don't know if I personally subscribe to the twice a day cleanse. The reason is because I really highly believe in having those natural moisturizers on your skin. Can you put those moisture back? Yeah, but also there's just stuff that's on your skin that you can't really get back by putting things back on it. Okay, let's talk about some generals when it comes to skin cleansing, shall we? Why do you need to cleanse? Well, the world is a disgusting place and your skin just kind of absorbs whatever you put on it. So you probably want to cleanse it off a few times, you know what I'm saying? Dirt, grime, sweat, pollution, also just like general contactingness, whether you contact something else or somebody else, you kind of want to need to wash that off, specifically before you put on your other products to drive it into your skin. Now, what if you wash it too much? You could be stripping those natural oils. That will not give your skin the biome that it needs in order to flourish to have its healthy glow. The reason that you don't want to strip off those natural oils is because it actually protects you from things like dryness, rashes, acne, and some other disgusting things that happen on your face. So let's talk about the types of skin and what they particularly need in a cleanser. Number 1, dry skin. You want something that does not foam. If it foams, it's gonna pull it off your skin. You want something that's moisturizing, but also cleansing.
But gently.
If you have oily skin, then you want to do something that will degrease the skin, but also not strip your moisture too much. If you take too much moisture off of your skin, then your skin's gonna rebound and you're gonna produce even more oil. So then you're just gonna be fighting with more oil and more oil on that oil, you know what I'm saying? As you can imagine, if you have combination skin, i.e. dry and oil, you're gonna need something that gently degreases, but also adds moisture. Or more, you're gonna need something that regulates oil, but also adds moisture to the dry spots. If you're a person that suffers from redness, you're gonna need something that is anti-inflammatory, so it's gonna make that redness go away. Also, that's gonna depuff and soothe your skin. Now, if you have sensitive skin, you have a whole issue that you have to deal with, because not only do you need to have something that doesn't have fragrance, doesn't have ingredients that causes your sensitivity to break out, but sometimes you also need a little moisture, but also sometimes you need a little degreasing. So you're kind of in this bucket where you're trying to particularly find what works the best for you. But really, honestly, you want something as close to a natural style ingredient as possible. So staying away from harsh chemicals, harsh fragrances, and just trying to find like the best thing that works for you. If you think you have a normal type of skin, you're gonna be wanting to do something that reinforces texture and tone and moisture, but also doesn't dry you out too much. Now, if you're a person who thinks you have dull skin, so you kind of miss that gleam and glow, you're gonna wanna find something that kind of exfoliates a little bit, pulls off those dead skins and be able to brighten the skin. And lastly, if you're in the category where you're worried about aging your skin or you have older skin, the reason I say that is because a lot of times when your skin gets older, it loses collagen and it has less of the ability to snap back. If you're in that skin class, you're gonna need something that helps with brightening the skin tones, maintaining moisture, helps with elasticity, and helps your skin kind of of retain its youthful glow. So what are some more dangerous chemical compounds that you want to avoid? So the problem with having those generic cleansers is there's some pretty harsh chemicals in them that strips your skin of oils, but also has a lot of chemicals that they don't particularly have to tell you what's in them. There is a lot of chemicals that I could go through and which ones to avoid. I want to be able to go through specific brands, but also I really don't want to get sued. So I have to talk about it in more of a broad strokes kind of thing. So I'm going to be talking about specific ingredients for each particular show. And all skincare ingredients, they have multiple chemicals that do multiple things. So it's hard to kind of pull out specifically which ones that each one is good for, because they do a lot of things. One's a preservative, one's more a detergent, one's more of a moisturizer, but it might also be a preservative. As you can imagine, chemicals, bacteria and living things don't like to live on chemicals. So a lot of times they become preservatives. The problem is that some of these are in multiple products. But I think to be more thorough, we should go through one chemical at a time per an episode. So today, because we're talking about cleansers, I'm going to talk about something called SLS or SLES. The biggest issue I have with most cleansers is they contain something called sodium lauryl sulfate or sodium Laureth sulfate. What is it? Great question. Sodium lauryl sulfate is a detergent. It's a soap. It's made out of something that has both polar and non-polar components so that it can bind to both the oil and the water and soap it up, sudsy it up, it lathers, and then it washes it away. So where is sodium lauryl sulfate found? It is found mostly in things that bubble. So bubble baths, shampoos, hand soaps, toothpaste, house cleaning products, a lot of baby products. On average, you use about 10 products a day on your skin. So it can actually affect you in more ways than you think. So what are the big health problems that comes with SLS? Well, it's very irritating to the skin. It can cause drying, redness, rashes. It's very irritating to the eyes, as well as it can be very irritating to the lungs. Does it particularly cause cancers or other issues? So the evidence is really inconclusive on whether it itself actually does that. In fact, most people say it does not cause cancer all by itself. So what do manufacturers do to reduce the harshness of this chemical? So since SLS is really irritating to the skin, to the eyes, and to the lungs, manufacturers have to do something to make it less harsh. They do this by doing a process called ethoxylation. That is basically putting an ethyl oxide molecule onto the SLS to be able to make it a little bit more comfortable. Now that would be all fine and dandy, except the byproduct of doing that particular process causes something to be made called 1,4-dioxane. That is a known carcinogenic, which means that it causes cancers. Now, do all SLS products have this particular thing on it? No, because there are safer ways to process SLS called vacuum stripping, which is basically making it less harsh and a different kind of manufacturing. The problem is we don't know particularly which products have this 1,4-dioxane and which ones don't. So it kind of makes it
scary altogether.
Other terrifying thing is that 1,4-dioxane actually can be on other products as well. They particularly have the chemical names ending in oxanol, Laureth, and cetroleth. I hope I'm saying those correctly. And sometimes they can be part of your PEG compounds, which some people say is very safe. These are all petroleum-derived products. So why would you particularly want some ingredients that have more natural compounds? Easy. They help you cleanse your skin without having issues of being very harsh, without having cancer, and without ruining your hormones. Now there's something to be said about natural components, because sometimes natural stuff can be very abrasive as well. You want to be looking for things that are what they call oil cleansers. Coconut oil, jojoba oil, olive oil. All three of those can be used because they can do the same thing where they can soap it up, but they can also get it off of your face and get all of the nasty dirt, pollution, sweat, grime, things that you develop throughout the day off your face. Another thing to note is these DIY skin cleansers. I do love the idea of a DIY skin cleanser, but what's more terrifying to me is when people make them and then they just leave them. There's no preservatives in those, not really ones that are meant for actual skincare. So when you're gonna make them that day and use them that day, or maybe a few days, but do not hold on to those things for like a week. You will grow some really terrifying things that you don't want to be sticking on your face, and then you get rashes and acne, and you can like develop all kinds of bacterial infections on your face.
Don't do that.
Just make it for the day, or make a very small batch and then use that up. Another natural thing that can be a little bit more abrasive is essential oils. And now some people say, oh, I can just put a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of tea tree, a little bit of lavender. Yes, a little bit. A drop goes a long way because it can burn your skin. Tea tree is a wonderful antimicrobial, and it's fantastic for people who have things like psoriasis. It helps get rid of a lot of microbial things growing in your products. But you don't want to be pouring just straight essential oils into your particular skincare products
because it can burn your skin.
Another fun ingredient is actually honey. Honey is antimicrobial, which means that it doesn't grow bacteria or fungus. It's also very gentle for the skin, and it has some pretty beneficial ingredients for making the skin moist and retains its own moisture. So honey is fantastic. A lot of people will combine honey and lemon together, and then lemon is really good because it is an antioxidant, it's antimicrobial, it's got a lot of vitamin C, which is going to help brighten up the skin and help with that collagen that I mentioned before in this video when I was talking about, what was I talking about with vitamin C? Radish. And the last thing is, because it's so incredibly bitter, it actually helps with something called astringent, which means that it's kind of a suction, so it kind of makes your skin appear more soft and supple and smaller pores. So that's all I got for you this week. I hope this encourages you to go check out your cleansing products and maybe avoid things that have SLS or SLES or 1,4-dioxane or any of the other components that I talked about, because you are your biggest advocate for your health. And there's lots of products out there that don't particularly have that. You can get natural cleansers in your products that they make, but make sure that you do have some kind of preservatives because you can be causing more issues than you think. Next up on the series, we're going to be talking about toners. Toners are one of my favorite things. I actually saw the biggest difference in my skin when I started using toners, and I think that they're a little more necessary than we give them credit for. So I'm going to go through all of the dangers of what toners might have in them, but also a lot of the benefits that you might get from adding a toner into your skincare. So I appreciate your time, I appreciate your attention. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a good thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below on what you're excited about toners. What's your favorite toner? Maybe put that down below. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.